Welcome to the GAB Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olzak. To participate in the 2024 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and New York City BigBookAward.com. Hello, everyone. This podcast, we have the pleasure of speaking with transformational coach and author, Jeanine Thompson. Jeanine's book, 911 from Your Soul, is a distinguished favorite in the 2024 Independent Press Award in the Inspiration category. Jeanine has an interesting and diverse background. She's a former Fortune 50 executive who led global human resources teams, and she has more than a decade of experience as an evidence-based clinical psychotherapist treating anxiety disorders. Jeanine's a Reiki master and a former certified yoga instructor. She holds a Master of Social Work and several certifications, including Certified High Performance Coach and Rapid Transformational Therapy Practitioner. A potentiality coach, speaker, and author, Jeanine guides individuals and groups to reach their fullest life potential. She's passionate about life and the environment and joins us from Minnesota. Congratulations, Jeanine.
Thank you. Lovely to be with you.
Oh my goodness, so nice to see you again. It was wonderful to meet you at book camp in June. We all had such a great time. It was so exciting. And so happy you could join the GAB Talks for a full-length interview.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited to be here today.
It's great. So hold up your book, Jeanine, just so our viewers who didn't catch it in the intro can see it. Fantastic cover, by the way. It's really gorgeous. Love it.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite places to be. It's in La Jolla.
It's the beach. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So Jeanine, let's start right from the top. Let's clarify for our viewers and listeners, what is a 911 from your soul?
A 911 from your soul, I think, is actually a love note from the universe, saying that there's a greater possibility either for you in your life or through you in your life for others.
Ooh.
But it's sneaky and it can be deceiving.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
My next question was, what can the 911 calls sound like to some of us?
Yeah, so it can sound a myriad of ways. For some, like myself, it can be subtle. There's whispers of restlessness, of yearning, like something's missing in your life and you cannot figure out what it is.
Yeah.
For others, it's loud and you cannot push it down. You can't ignore it. Maybe an important relationship is dissolving or changing, financial crisis.
And you feel like something's just not right.
Yep. Something up in your life, and it can feel like a disaster sometimes. Like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't have time for this. But actually, that's why I call it a love note, because very often we all need that extra nudge. Otherwise, we say, you know what? I know something's not right. I know it's not quite right in my life, and I'll get to it when I'm done with this project. When my
tomorrow,
daughter, or whatever it is. There's always
always something else.
Yeah, and life finally says no.
I think we've all heard that. I think we've all heard that. Now, in your book intro, Jeanine, you describe an experience during your tenure as a Fortune 50 executive. You talk about self-reflections that you had. And in one, you told yourself, I'm not really living. That sounds like that was your call. Describe that journey and hearing that call.
It was just that. I would get these frequent whispers that my life was out of harmony, right? Yeah. The most important thing in my life were my children, Tanner and Taylor. And yet I was in a plane 200,000 to 300,000 miles a year.
Always traveling,
right? Supporting a mission I loved, surrounded I think the best teams ever.
I'm sure,
loved,
But feeling guilty all the time, probably.
I think I said that in the book.
I know that feeling.
Guilty when I wasn't with my kids.
Yes.
guilty when I wasn't at work. And I felt like I was functioning in life. Well, most people would
Yes.
think, oh,
Yes.
balanced it all, move from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. I'm like, I don't even notice the sun rising, or I don't drink it in. I don't smell the grass. I'm not really living. And I said to myself, there has to be something more.
You're alive, but you're not really living.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jeanine, you work with a lot of high achievers, executives, entrepreneurs, leaders in various industries. So to me and the rest of the outside world, they appear to have everything, success, money, all of it, the whole package. But something is missing in their lives. How do you inspire them and empower them to change that trajectory?
Yeah.
Their lives. How do you do that?
You nailed it. You described it beautifully. When people come to me, they're like, my life to everyone else seems perfect.
Yeah.
I've got the gig going.
Right.
I've achieved success, and I've done it through hard work and discipline, and they're usually intellectually capable and lots of skills, right? But they're stuck and very unsettled, sometimes scared. Like, I don't want to blow up what's working just because I'm not happy when I should be.
Right. Not everyone, you can't have everything.
Exactly.
Settle for that. Yes. Right.
So
right.
What happens, I work with what I call the beauty of the and, science and soul, physical and invisible.
Yeah, you talk a lot about that. You talk a lot about that.
Proven and yet to be unproven. So when my leaders or individuals come to me, they're usually wicked good at like best practices. They've got the science down, they're readers, they're studiers, but they are not yet versed in the greatest source of power that they actually are. So I teach them about the treasure trove of intelligence and wisdom, and actually the answers that they're seeking. I teach them how to access that inside, and then we marry it in the beauty of the and. You know, I always say we're souls in wonder suits, right? So we are infinite intelligence in this magnificent wonder suit of a body, but we've only been trained about the physical. That which
don't know how to access
that. Senses.
Yes.
So I'm like, fantastic, you soar there, and now the exciting part comes. Now there's it really is the truth of who we are.
Or who we want to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Both.
Absolutely both.
It is the elusive something missing. It's so odd. Our whole entire life, we're trained to go external. Go to the expert. And by the way, that has a role. Most people who come to me, they've just hit a wall. And that's when I introduce them to the and that they are.
So I want to talk about, in the foreword of your book, Marci Shimoff. Some of us may not know, some of our listeners and viewers may not know who she is, but she's a pretty renowned transformational teacher, New York Times bestselling author of the Chicken Soup series. I think many people are very familiar with that. So she said, Jeanine, of your work, that it is soul-inspired and soul-directed, but also pragmatic and practical. And I love that because it is so true. In fact, you offer a blueprint. It's called Soul Solutions Method, and it's 7 core spiritual principles for daily living. So tell us what those are. And at the end of that, and I can repeat the question because we might have a way to go. Which one do you consider to be the most transformational to really get us started as sort of a launching pad?
Wow, that's a great question. So I'll go to the first question.
What are they?
Together. So there are 7 key spiritual principles. I call them the soul solution. There's one for soul, mind, heart, body, service, gratitude, and love.
Okay.
So each of those are the headlines of my chapters, and each of them contain wisdom about what's the earth view. Like, how would we see this? How do we understand mind, for example, through the earth view? Well, we understand mind through the earth view to be all of our 70,000 thoughts rolling around like most of us achievers do. It's like, please stop, you know?
Yes.
That's often filled with a fear-based outcome. Like, what if this goes wrong? What if I miss something?
Yes.
Like, what ifs, right? But then there's this soul view. And what's the soul view of mind? Well, the soul view of mind says, oh, dear one, you are so much more than the hamster wheel with 70,000 thoughts. You've got access to intelligence that exists in the universe, the whole literal universe. We actually have access to. And when we use our mind in service to love, in service to a higher outcome, not only for ourselves, but everyone around us, it's a game changer. We change our lives. Frankly, we change business and we change the earth, like everything. So each of the principles, I say, hey, does this sound familiar? Earth view. And then, well, if I did buy into this concept that I'm something greater, what would it sound like through a soul view? And then practically, the beauty of the and. Well, then how do we live this soul view that's invisible and make it practical day to day? You know? Because we still, this isn't about sitting on a meditation cushion all day long. We got to exist, and we want to exist.
Yes.
You know, for ourselves,
for our children,
our animals, for whatever your burning fire is inside. We need an and. We can't sit on a meditation cushion all day, and we can't just simply trust our five senses to guide us on the highest path.
The beauty of the and. So which of those principles do you think is the most transformational? That's a hard one.
I would say it's about how they work together, but I'm going to give you two, and here's why.
Okay.
The first one is I align with my soul to discover my truth. When we listen to the earth view of our mind, those 70,000 thoughts, they're full of stories. They're what I call biased and conditioned stories. We've each led a journey along the way. Our parents, our caregivers gave us stories based on their own experience, often with the best intentions. And the world gives us messages. But most of the world gives us messages that says, you're not enough. You don't eat the right thing. You don't wear the right thing. You don't have the right bank account. You don't have the right job. You need to keep going. Or it's not enough.
Yeah.
But when we learn to rest in the infinite wisdom of the spiritual heart, and we listen to the soul, then we hear truths that'll guide us to a higher way of living. Because in the end, when we feel like something's missing, we're like, man, I want to feel ease and joy and freedom and peace. I want to feel like at the end of this gig that it mattered and I mattered. You know?
Well, you talk also a lot about stillness. Does that tie into the power of stillness?
It absolutely does.
Why is that so important? And why do we all need to integrate that into our daily lives?
Because we've been trained out of it.
Yeah, we really have. Always on the move.
Yeah. And
hamster wheel.
I was taught you've got more to do. Dig in harder. You can do it. Just dig harder. And that's what I did. More to do. Dig in harder.
Traveling, moving, going. Yeah.
All go. And what that does, the harder and faster we move, the more we shut down our creativity. We turn down the voice of soul, and we get caught in that 70K in stillness, just by being with a breath, literally feeling the breath, feeling it in the belly, and just saying, I'm listening.
I think that intimidates a lot of people because
me too.
I think many of us think, okay, stillness, meditation, it's something you have to do for 5 minutes, but for 50 minutes, for 30 minutes. But I learned that it can literally be a 2-minute stillness, a 2-minute meditation to just recharge, recharge the soul.
It was intimidating to me, and I actually was resistant. I said, you do not understand me. I'm the chop girl.
Right. You can stay still.
I do not have
how I am. Yeah.
And by the way, it was unproductive, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
I could have a bunch done.
You're moving from one thing to the next. Yeah.
So those are the stories of the mind, not true.
Sure.
So when I was learning, and I took a whole bunch of different teaching classes and etc., we started out with 30 seconds just to be with the breath and breathe in through the nose, feel it in the belly, hold, and exhale. And that was it. And we would do it once every hour. So I would just learn just to pause. I'd set my alarm on my phone, and then I simply at the end said, what is excellence for this next hour? And it was really interesting. I was inviting soul to take the lead, because when soul's the lead singer, we're going to be rocking on all cylinders.
I love that, inviting soul to take the lead. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's, you are so you're such a soulful person and so spiritual. I felt it when we met at book camp. No, really, it's so true. And it didn't surprise me that you have been working with hospice patients for a very long time. What have you learned from these folks who are sadly nearing the end of their journey in this world, in this earth?
Oh my gosh. I've got God bumps all
Me too. I do
too. On my body. Boy, it makes me tearful. It's the greatest blessing of my life.
Yeah,
I believe it. To accompany, because the age range is vast.
Of course.
And what I've learned more than anything is what matters most, and do it now. And what matters most will be, that answer will be so different for everyone.
For everyone.
It might be their family. For others, it might be travel. It actually doesn't matter what the it is.
Yeah.
But do it now. Sometimes it's a conversation. I learned from them. They're like, Jeanine, like, I knew I needed to go back. I knew I either needed to say I was sorry, or I wished I would have done this with you or for you. And I always thought I had time. And
we all.
I was going to do this.
Yes.
So when I began hospice work at 18.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 2 of my friends died in high school, one in front of me. So I had an appreciation and a zest for the gift of the moment from a very young age. But then actually sitting with these folks who were transitioning, they were the most wise and greatest teachers. It's like all of a sudden they had pristine clarity.
Well, hindsight is 20/20.
Yes, on what mattered in life. Yes. And they wanted to be in service to others, to say, hey, you've got a long runway in front of you. Here's something I've learned. And they've got so much to share and to offer. And they were often grateful to me because I'm so comfortable with the range of life experiences and the conversation, and I wasn't scared to ask them or be in the room for treatments.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I received, oh my goodness, I received love. I received wisdom that has been a North Star. And in my best moments, Gabby, I live it every day.
That's wonderful. So
and in my human moments, I'm like, okay, pumpkin.
Yeah.
It's a little light. Let's begin again. And so I've given myself permission to begin again, sometimes honestly 50 times a day. It's like, okay, let's just begin again, pumpkin.
Restore.
And I talk to myself kindly. Now, pumpkin's one of my phrases, and it's endearing. Where before, if you would have been in my mind, honestly, it was a hell sometimes. I was so hard on myself. There was no pity, and it's like, no, that doesn't serve anyone. So I know this is a long way of coming back.
No,
but the other principle is I am love, and say yes.
And say yes. Well, I was going to ask what you learned, like many of us, you've experienced challenges, traumas, like all of us. And through all of that, what have you learned? And I guess you just gave us the answer to that.
Yes.
Just be a little kinder to yourself.
Be kinder to yourself. And I really believe the meaning we assign to everything actually is going to have a significant influence on how we experience the hour, the day, the month, the week, our life. And so through the tragic deaths of dear friends and loved ones, and through divorce, and through all sorts of things, children's medical issues, which were excruciating and broke my heart, each time I kept saying, okay, if love were speaking to me right now, what would it say? What would it say? And I would just hold on to, there has to be love in this. Somewhere in this experience, there has to be a love and a wisdom we can glean, I can glean, so I can be a brighter, more inspired, more luminous light for another traveler along.
Well, you're all those things, that's for sure. So what is your favorite self-care practice?
There's so many. I would say communing with nature. So I wrote my book in the forest, and
did you?
Yes.
Oh, so what was your day like writing? What did you do? You just went into the forest and started writing?
I did, and
that's great. I love that.
I packed up my, sweats on, no makeup, hair up, had a little camping chair, and went. It was a block from my house, and it's important to know this is how the love of the universe works. I didn't know it was here.
Really?
I walked 300 times because I love a lot of movement, and didn't know it was there. One day, a neighbor who I had never walked with before or after asked me to go on a walk. She took me, this half a block from my house, and there was a dead end sign. And by the way, I'm one to be innovative and push the boundaries. For whatever reason, for the first 3 years, I followed and I did not go past the dead end. She took me on this wonderful wooded paved road. The next day I went back, and I'm like, and take the road less traveled. So I do that, and it's getting late, and there's this creaky, crappy bridge, and I'm like, Thompson, do you have to be such an explorer? I thought I was going to fall into the gun. I get to the bottom, and I look up, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. There was the most beautiful wood table in the middle of the forest.
Wow. What are the chances of that, actually?
What are the chances? I will tell you, the week before I had been meditating, and I had been asking for a quiet writing spot. I wanted a quiet space where I could just hear the wisdom of life moving through me for others. And then Sandy, my neighbor, asked me to go on this walk. And then in the forest, I didn't even know Minnesota had forests. So there's so many things about this. But I do encourage your readers, go to my website and look at the nature pictures. And you'll see amazing things, like you can see spirit around me in the pictures. You can see a rainbow directly over my head when I'm writing. That's the gift of life. Like stillness, whether it's 30 seconds or 2 minutes, or you're being still as you wash dishes, but you feel the water and you connect with appreciation of water. Or even as we're doing the dirty dishes after we eat and just are with the experience. That was being open. I thought I was going to San Fran, maybe to the forest, the redwood forest. I thought maybe we would go.
Didn't need to do that.
The mountain. And here all along, the answer was in front of me the whole time, but I had failed to ask up until that point. And so now I ask for everything, and I'm always delighted. I'm like, it's so excited. Like, you can't make this up. There's a table forest. You cannot make this up.
And you went there every day. That was your spot.
Every day. Packed up my chair. I'm sure my
writing spot.
Yes.
Like Winnie the Pooh's thinking spot. That was Jeanine's writing spot. Wow.
It was. And then you're in life. You're on the ground and in the trees, and the squirrels are playing tag and the butterflies are flying, and it's so alive, and just being with the breath and listening.
And it infuses you with very positive energy to be outside. I agree.
Everything.
Yeah. I would much rather walk for miles outside and just be with nature than go to a gym or a studio or something. It's just, it's not inspiring at all. It really is.
Too.
It really.
When we connect with that, and I used to live in a city, so I didn't obviously have that there, but I still could do it. I had plants in my house.
Yeah, sure.
Open the window, I'd feel the sun, and it's amazing. You connect with those natural sources of wisdom, which I think they are, and it's a game changer for our day. It instantaneously.
I love it. So what would you say, Jeanine? This is another little tough one, but maybe not. What's your life mantra? What's something that you say to yourself maybe once a day?
Oh, for sure. I am a lighthouse. So I literally fill my body with light. There's a practice in my book where I teach people just from the top of your head, from the sun, run it through your body and your imagination. See the earth, because they're both life forces. If you take sun to earth, I bring it in my body and I see myself shining light in front of me, behind me, to the left, to the right, above me, and below me. And so that way, when I move through life, my highest intention every day is, may I be a lighthouse for someone. May I, through my presence, maybe a word, maybe a smile, maybe holding a door open, offer the gift of love, offer the gift of a mirror, because so I want them to know their light,
Well, you've succeeded in that, Jeanine, because every time I see you and talk to you, the light definitely emanates from you. That is for sure. So
just a minute, I want you to be able to receive this. You too. Like when I had a chance to meet you in New York, I called my friend. I'm like, I knew I'd love her. It was like electric.
We were it was two magnets.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I felt it too. It was just, and I'm so glad you were able to be here again. Now, look at this. This is, it's beautiful. So what is next on your journey? Because I know there's more in there. I know there's something else. Yeah,
there is indeed. So I'm going to continue to spread the reflection of 911, because that's what it is. It's actually the biggest invitation, the biggest love note to say, this is you. It's all in you. And we just needed to remember. Life kind of knocked it.
Yeah, you need to be reminded
out of it. So you need to remember. And then book 2 is rolling around in my mind, and the forest will soon be calling. And in the meantime, I just every day get the privilege of walking with people who want to close that gap between what is and a part of them that knows there's just a greater possibility for who they are. It's so delicious. Like to do this. It's so
I can see that you just love what you do. You
I
have such a
do.
passion about it. It's
Yes.
fantastic. So finally, I understand, you've written the entire book in the forest.
Yes.
And you practice what you preach. You have a partnership with One Tree Planted, and I understand that for every book sold, they plant one tree. That is phenomenal. So where can we purchase
Thank
911
you.
and find out more about you?
Yes. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, it almost anywhere online. You can go to my website at JanineThompson.net. And no matter what country you're in, it's going to be easy for you. Just hit the button and it'll take you to your preferred way of purchasing books, because everybody's got their own, from even mom and pop shops. Like, go in, ask them to order it, So,
and I encourage everyone to check out your website. It's a plethora of fabulous information, videos, photos, as you said. Jeanine, this was wonderful. Thank you so much.
thank you. And thank you for the gift of giving us authors an opportunity to talk about our books and to give us a broader reach. Like, I couldn't have done this on my own. So I am deeply grateful to you and to Ted. And
thank you.
Yeah, deepest gratitude.
Well deserved. So many talented authors out there. We loved your book. You're a beautiful person inside and out. Thank you for sharing these powerful messages and tools. And everyone out there, this is your hostess, Gabby Olzak from the GAB Talks. Join us next podcast when we speak with Judy Zizak, author of Petals from Mars, a memoir of resilience and triumph over adversity. Until next time, keep on reading. Thank you.